We've got some exclusive footage from the Metrodome last night. Snow leaking in the roof, and the roof collapsed this morning.
How does a modern NFL stadium collapse due to a snowstorm? Why did Minnesota demolish a stadium that was just over 30 years old when there are stadiums twice that age still standing? Find out on this episode of Abandoned History, the collapse of the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome. The Metrodome was conceived after the AFL-NFL merger. The Vikings had previously been playing in Metropolitan Stadium, which had a capacity of 48,500. The NFL had set a standard that all stadiums must have a capacity of 50,000 by the time of the merger. The city of Minneapolis decided that their Vikings and Twins teams needed a new stadium to share, something that could keep fans warm in the cold, blustery Minnesota winters. Similar in design to the Pontiac Silverdome near Detroit and the RCA Dome in Indianapolis, the Metrodome would use high-pressure air to support the roof, which is made of Teflon-coated fiberglass. The outside of the Teflon membrane was 1/32 inches thick, and the inside was 1/64 inches thick. The entire structure weighed a whopping 580,000 pounds and reached as high as 16 stories off the ground. The unique design of the roof was a miracle of modern technology, but had a few drawbacks, including the constant need to maintain air pressure to support the roof. In order for this pressure to be maintained, revolving doors were used to enter and exit the structure in order to maintain this constant pressure. Almost immediately there was issues with the roof.
The Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome in its still short life deflated for the second time in its history.
And the first roof collapse happened on November 19, 1981. Rapid accumulation of snow caused the roof to collapse on itself. The building was then simply reinflated as there was no major tears in the roof. This happened 5 times throughout the 1980s and led to new precautions being implemented. All of these precautions were to try to melt snow off the roof to keep that pressure and weight off of it, and so these precautions included pumping hot air in between the 2 layers of the membrane, as well as having workers go out onto the top of the roof and melt the snow with steam. The fateful year of 2010 began with an inspection in April. The Metropolitan Sports Facilities Commission inspected and gave the roof a rating. The outer membrane was noted as holding up well, but the inner lining was rated as fair to poor. The roof of the Metrodome was designed to have a life of around 20 years, so at this point it was already nearly 8 years past its operating life. The inside of the roof had several holes and tears, with some damage caused by auto show emissions which had been held inside the dome over the years. Despite these findings, the commission made no recommendations and simply decided to inspect it again in another 4 years. The 5th largest snowstorm on record for Minnesota struck on December 10th and 11th, 2010, with around 17 inches of snow falling at the Twin Cities International Airport. Rapid accumulation had collapsed the Metrodome before, but nothing quite like this. With the wind blowing rapidly and snows falling steadily, the snow removal crew had to be recalled from the roof for their safety. The center of the roof had started to sag that night under the immense pressure of the snow on top. Fox Sports decided to leave their cameras rolling overnight and captured the incredible footage of the collapse of the dome. The snow would come pouring in and turn the indoor stadium into an outdoor winter wonderland. The damage to the inside of the dome was minor, with only some lighting structures and seats needing to be replaced. The actual turf field survived the incident thanks to built-in drainage. In an unprecedented move, the NFL moved the Vikings game to Detroit as a neutral site for the Vikings and Giants to play. The Vikings had to find alternate locations for the rest of their games that season. The roof was declared a total loss, and a new one had to be installed at a cost of $18 million. The repairs took over 8 months, with the stadium being reinflated on June 13, 2011. This new roof proved to be more stable than the old one, and had no issues up until its demolition 3 years later. Paying $18 million for a new roof that was used for only 3 years is even more shocking when you take into account that the stadium was built for only $68 million. The old Metrodome refused to die as demolition hit many setbacks and took a couple months for the building to finally fall on February 13th, 2014 to make way for the new US Bank Stadium, this time a stadium without an air bubble roof. This has been the story of the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome. A modern marvel of its time, it fell victim to 21st century progress. Some miss it, some don't. But one thing we can all agree on is it's now a piece of abandoned history. This has been Codemic, and thanks for watching episode 20 of Abandoned History. I'm going to be trying to upload more frequently now that I have a little more free time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe, as Call Me Kevin might say, and thanks for watching.